And it's a beautiful morning. Thanks for staying with us on the AM show. Time now to look at our big stories for the morning. Guess who's joining us in studio? Peter Lanchene Toobu, who's West Member of Parliament. We've been trying for so long to see him in studio. Fortunately, Parliament is on recess, so he's affording him some time to join us this morning. Good morning to you. Honourable. Welcome. Yeah, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Indeed. And later on, we'll be joined by the Deputy Trade Minister and MP for Nshaiso, Honourable Stephen Amoah, who will also be joining the conversation. It's been a very busy week. Lots of stories making the rounds already, but on top of it is the New Patriotic Party's Special Delegates Conference. You're a member of the NDC, so it's interesting when I have NDC individuals talk about what's happening on the other side. The tiebreaker may no longer be a case because now we know that Boachejaku is indicating that due to some legal concerns, he will not be part of this weekend's primaries. And part of the concerns, I believe, is because the party says they're changing the rules of the game. They want to reduce the numbers. So, just the National Executive Council will get to decide who makes it to the top 5. Looking at the concerns from the side of Boachejaku and just opposing the party's position, you don't feel that he has no case at all?
Thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to say good morning to our cherished viewers. Good morning to my constituents, the Wawes people who have given me the title Honourable. My name is actually Peter Lanchene Toobu, Superintendent Retired. Honourable MP for Wawes, because Honourable is for the people of Wawes. Yeah. And anytime I have the opportunity on air, I have to acknowledge them because they have brought me this far, and I think that I am representing them, meeting their expectations. But let's come to the NPP. What they did was just a selection of 5 people to go in for the presidential primaries. What they did was to create an electoral college skewed towards the vice president, Dr. Bawumia. That constituency is Bawumia's constituency. So I was expecting him to hit at least some 80% of the total vote.
Oh, 80?
Yeah, 80.
Not even the 60?
Not anything less than 80% is a mark of failure because that constituency is actually his constituency. Why am I saying this? We have over 208,000 people who are going to vote on the D-Day, and you have 961 people as a sample. And that was really a very bad sample. Why I'm saying a bad sample? Over 193,000 of the people who will be voting are polling station executives. They were not represented in the sample. All we had was a constituency chairman upwards to the national executive.
Yeah, but you cannot get a constituency chairperson if it's not been elected from the base of the party.
But what I'm saying, the fact that they elected a constituency chairman doesn't mean that the constituency chairman carries aspirations of all the people in the constituency. If you have polling station people represented in there, you will have a very different picture. And that is why I tell people, even if you have faith in that election and you are part of the 5 and you are actually last, the 5th person, nobody should be surprised that at the end of the day, probably even the last person will win the elections. Because what happened on the D-Day where they elected 5 people was the fact that 961 people decided to go and reduce the number. So virtually what they did was not to give somebody the first position or the second position. They reduced the number to 5. And that number 5, each individual in that number 5 has the potential to become the presidential candidate of the NPP as they prepare to go to opposition. Yeah. But I think that sometimes I love the NPP for being strategic. You know what they are doing? They do know that, as a matter of fact, 2024 is a dead game.
They think so?
No, it's a dead game. They can't get closer to victory. Never. No Ghanaian is thinking about NPP in 2024. For God's sake, what at all will we want to find in NPP? What at all do you want them to do again? For all 8 good years, they've run this country aground. The last time the Minister of Finance came to Parliament and said we're turning the corner. If you know what mathematics is in terms of quadratic equations and parabolas, a parabola is a point, the dipping point, that turning point that he's talking about. We've not even gotten there yet. So my minority leader told him, we've not even seen the corner. We can't turn the corner. So if you look at what is happening in this country, the fact that they've run down the economy, and if you are reducing inflation from 54.1% to 43.2%, and you are thinking that it's an achievement, when you actually took inflation between 14 to 15% in this country, and you look at look at the exchange rate. Everything that is working, businesses are collapsing. In fact, people are packing out of this country. And for you to be thinking that NPP is still an option, you should be Ghanaian enough to tell them in the face that this is not right.
How about the nature, the competitive nature of the exercise? The belief is that the party will come out stronger They have 10 individuals. The party's been able to streamline that to 6 now. We're heading for, a tiebreaker. It tells you how tough, the delegates of the NPP.
My brother, they were 117. 17 people came out, but it didn't change anything. Professor Mills won the elections. Let me tell you something. I am saying they are very strategic because when you read the lines, the political colors will tell you 2024 is a done deal for the National Democratic Congress. Even though we need to up our game to get a good percentage, a very respectable percentage, to say that we have won the elections overwhelmingly. Apart from that, they are looking at why will we lose election and just lose? No, we need to lose and gain something. Losing, yes, we will lose the election. Gaining what? Let's build our party for the future. So let's push Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia forward. Okay, for the first time, we have a northern leading the NPP so that he can help take away the account tag on the NPP. But if you go and lose, it is not the fault of the party. You led the party into losing the elections. So that next time, if he's not even the presidential candidate, but it will be in history recorded that a northerner belonging to the Dombo faction.
So you think the NPP is simply setting the vice president up for failure?
Oh, they've set him up for failure totally. And he's so excited to also fail.
Okay, but things could turn around. And you were the one telling me just a couple of minutes ago that the just ended Super Delegates Conference may not be the true reflection of the grassroots of the party. If that's the case, then it may not be Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who would end up being on the ticket of the NPP. If that happens, we're likely to see Kennedy Ejapon, we're likely to see Alan Kujuchurmating, who came third. We're likely to see the Agric Minister, who's in the 4th position after this, Super Delegates Conference.
When you mentioned my big brother, the Agric Minister, yes. I love. The Agric Minister had the opportunity to end his campaign when he was Minister for Agric, and he messed it up. The economy of this country has a backbone we call agriculture. If you are made an Agric Minister and you intend to become president of this country or even contest to be president, you use the position of the minister as a minister and let the Ghanaian people know, listen, the backbone of this economy is Agric. Bring some transformation, some innovation. Let the people be driven along a particular path to say, oh, this is the way to go. And nobody would even be telling you, come on, you wouldn't be telling people
planting
that you
for food and jobs.
Listen. Planning for food and job, look at it on paper, very beautiful concept. Go and look at the outcome.
He says the prices
right? No, look at the outcome.
Reduced. Plantain significantly dropped in terms of pricing.
Right.
And it was all over the place. He was distributing it, going to
please,
circle and giving out.
Please,
I'm sure you had some of your share.
I mean, those euphoric supplementary activities, I don't really take them serious. Go to the ground and ask the people, what is the impact of planting for food and jobs? Where are the food? Where are the jobs? Right? When you get food, it creates jobs. Where are the jobs? He's done almost 7 years in power and he's gone. All he's done to himself is that he's been able to have the capacity to be able to contest to become the president of this country. But he's trying to contest to become a candidate. I think when he was asked what is the vision, what he wants to do, he said his vision is actually to become the candidate of the NPP. You don't
feel that the policy was sabotaged in any way? Because he was complaining about it. In fact, you're from the northern parts of the country. I recall the story about how our donkeys, even our donkeys, are now very much conversant with the smuggling of fertilizer. And they do that. They just give the orders. They take it to the neighboring countries. So it's not entirely his fault that the PFJ phase 1 did not work.
You see, what we fail to learn in this country is that if you are bringing up a policy and you fail to think about local content, it fails flat. It's a stillborn matter. If you are bringing up a policy, please let the stakeholders buy into the policy. Right. You are talking about farmers. Were the farmers so conscious about what planting for food and jobs was coming to do? Were they ready to get involved? Did they know the role they were supposed to play? You see, when you have a strategy for people, and you think that this strategy will succeed, that particular strategy must be everybody's everyday business. That we all know where we're supposed to do. I know my role to play. Even if I have a taxi driver, I know my role to play. If I'm a farmer, I know my role to play. If I cart goods from the cocoa area to town, I'm going to carry tomatoes from Wichao in my constituency to Teshiman. I should know that I am doing all this, but gradually, look, this is the piece of the puzzle. Together, we are building a great nation using agriculture.
Okay, so he will be Dr. Ekoto would be a no match.
He's a no match for anybody. And you can't.
He's a no match for John.
No. Listen.
You're dismissing him?
Totally, I'm dismissing him, even in his own party.
Not even Kennedy Ejapon?
Kennedy Ejapon? No, Kennedy Ejapon knows that he's making a show. He's trying to give a showdown to anybody to understand that, listen, I am showing my face for the future. But he knows, as a matter of fact, he's very excited for placing second.
Yeah.
And I think that he'll be very excited placing second again and let whoever wins the presidential primaries of the NPP go to lose. And then the next time probably he could back up himself.
Alan Kojo Chirmatin.
Alan Kojo Chirmatin, a member of the NPP economic management team, the solid team. He was a member of the solid team that gradually became gaseous. And I mean, what did they do?
Yeah, you were told he was part of the solid team.
He's part, not what I was told. I know he's part.
But you were told, you didn't see him play.
Listen, he was a part of the solid team, the team that messed us up.
You feel he can't run away to say, and we've seen some of his statements pointing out that, look, there was someone in charge after all.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I think his vision is actually the one that gave him out. He said he wants to build a huge superstructure on the successes of the Akufo-Addo administration. And that is a failure. You know why? The President Akufo-Addo's administration has left a legacy of disappointment. There is no structure for you to build a superstructure on. What President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is leaving for this country is disappointment, disgrace, embarrassment, and the worst of all. Look, history has shown that he is going to go down history as the worst president in our entire history from 1957 to date. And he knows that. And you want to come and build a superstructure on such a failed foundation? Where do you want to go?
Given his track record, the fact that he's been around for quite some time now, the belief is he's going to give a run for John Mahama's money if indeed he ends up being the presidential candidate of the NPP, don't you think?
Well, if it's all about time, listen, it's not about how long you live in life that matters. It's what is the impact of your life. I always talk about three things: impact, relevance, and time. What impact will he make now that he couldn't make? What is his relevance in the NPP and Ghana in particular that he couldn't make? And looking at the time, your age, and the fact that you've contested before, and for you to follow President Nana for 8 good years, what piece of advice did you give?
For the record, it's not 8 years. Alan Kojo Chirmatin has not been in government for 8 years.
Listen, his party has been in government for 8 years.
Yeah,
and
but not Alan.
Yes,
he resigned.
Alan Kojo Chirmatin was a key member of the Nana Addo administration. And I think that being a key member, all he ought to do was to provide some solid support to ensure that government performs better.
But this is one man who has consistently contested President Akufo-Addo. He's done so. He's also, aside contesting, President Akufo-Addo, contested, and he's still contesting now for the presidential slot of the party. Does it not suggest that at least he has a vision of his own, something he wants to do to transform Ghana? He says he calls this the great transformation plan. Yes, that's how he calls it.
You see, let me say something. If you want to talk about transformation in an environment where nobody is talking about reforms, nobody is talking about restructuring, you can never transform an institution, you can never transform a country that has never been reformed or never been restructured. Transformation is an act that begins in the mind. Even if you go to the Bible, it tells you, be ye transformed by renewing your mind. Without a mental renewal, Ghana cannot be transformed. So if you talk about the great transformation program, I just listened to him and I smiled. And I said, probably, well, it is just a kind of jargon, these slogans. But listen, nobody within the NPP can promise better than the President Nana Akufo-Addo's administration.
Oh, really?
They have promised over the roof.
But you have Dr. Bawumia who says he'll be his own man. He's bringing, Ghana to a state of digital transformation. At least he's giving us a sense of where he wants to take the political party to. Dr.
Bawumia should acknowledge the fact that if you are talking about digital transformation, somebody brought the digital backbone to Ghana. And that backbone is an infrastructural backbone that was supposed to lift this country to another level. Unfortunately, the NDC lost the election in 2016. So what he's doing is just top-dressing what NDC dreamed of doing. And I'm sure that if President Nana Addo was still around, we'll talk about digitizing Ghana. I'm telling you, we have gone further than what the president is doing today.
But then we know that, for instance, if you take a look at the contest and how it's going to pan out, if Dr. Bawumia ends up on that ticket, he said, and of course that infamous quote which is making the rounds in social media, causing a lot of controversy, he's told us that he's beaten John Mahama before, he will do that again. That's what he's told us.
Who is saying that?
And Dr. Bawumia, he says he's beaten John Mahama before.
You know, out of Dr. Bawumia, in his political dream, he thinks that the NPP will make him a presidential candidate. And for that matter, he's believed that he's the next president. And everybody knows that even from the lips of Kennedy Ajapong, the chairman of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Defense and Interior, who is now contesting to become the NPP's presidential candidate, he will tell you that solid team that led the country down into the gutter, none of them has the capacity to be able to come on his own and say, I want to do something good for Ghana. This is their own person. I know for the fact that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is just a non-starter. Let him come around. We'll give him a good fight for his money. But it doesn't matter what. I think that I want to salute the people of Asin North. There is some new politics that they introduced in this country. Okay. This country was going towards what we call moneycracy. From Asin North, the people of Asin North told us, listen, it doesn't matter how much money you share. What we've decided to do is to vote for somebody we believe that he can provide us with good leadership.
Is that to say you're buying into the suspicion that incumbency advantage is playing towards the favor of the vice president?
I don't know what is. Of course, he's the vice president, and it's expected that he will take advantage of that. But he should also be careful. Because what happened in Asino, within their party, they can do whatever they want to do. But getting to the general level where Ghanaians are concerned, the Asino story is burning like wildfire. Bring the money. We will take your money, but we'll assess you, we'll evaluate you, very particularly your past record. If you look at what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia have said from 2016 to date, and the performance of his government, I don't think that he should even have the guy to go and say that I want to lead the party. Even the NPP themselves knows that if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is going to lead the party, they won't have the moral courage to go out there and go and campaign. Campaigning on what? Campaigning on the failed promises? Campaigning on what? Campaigning on the fact that he's imprisoned the city with the key with the IGP and it has escaped? Campaigning on what? That you took $1 from 4 cities and now almost 12 cities? Is that the credibility you want to stand on? No, please, listen. In transformations, leaders carry people from where they are to where they ought to be and not where they want to be. We thought that the President Nana Akufo-Addo's administration was going to lift Ghana for 8 years to where we ought to be and not where we actually want to be. Unfortunately for them, it's almost 8 years. We are not even getting closer to where we want to be. But as for the where we ought to be, it remains a mirage.
Okay, let's say good morning to Stephen Amoah, the Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, and also Dr. Stephen Amoah, and also he happens to be a Member of Parliament for Nshaisu. Good morning, Doc. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
I mean, I was looking forward to Saturday so you could be a polling agent for either Adainimo or Wache Jacob. And, you know, it looks like that's not happening anytime
I don't know whether any member of Parliament was actually a polling station agent. No.
Because Supo was looking forward to that. He says, well, I want to see Dr. Stephen Amoah, being, Supo in studio with us. He was looking forward to that.
I say NDC. NDC was
that's a great way.
On communist inferior tactics and propaganda.
Wait until he starts talking.
They had propaganda secretary.
Oh.
They only changed the caption. I mean, so they officialized propaganda. It's never done anywhere apart from those communist inferior tactic days that some countries that, for the sake of ethics and respect, I wouldn't want to mention.
It appears that your party may not have the headache of running the tiebreaker anymore. It appears Boache Jacob, as we understand through the statement he's issued, is withdrawing from the race. Is that a development that you welcome?
Actually, I haven't heard what you say.
Okay.
If it is true, because
but it is true.
Exclusively, I've been engaged, so it's possible.
Okay,
but if he's done that, I think he's shown statesmanship, and it will actually save NPP the Herculean task of going through 3 elections before against the NPP. So I think it's a good news.
Yeah, but the concern is that that's happening obviously because of the, it appears a whole new set of rules are being introduced now by the council of the party, the reason for which he believes, this will not be too well, for the party. You had 961 people.
Let's discuss more important
I get your point, but you had more than 961 people deciding who gets to make it to the top 5. Now you come to the
Are you allowing me to talk, or you are just speaking this?
No, but
don't come in. You said a lot of things. Now let me start and say you stop.
No. Let me ask the question. So now you come to the tiebreaker. Yeah, now you come to the tiebreaker. And, the party appears to be setting its own rules for the game.
I don't know what you're talking about. So if that's what you see, that's fine.
Let the party allow the 6 of 6.
You are okay with what it is that the party has
I don't even know what you're talking about.
No, because yesterday on PM Express, your Deputy General Secretary was here.
I've told you I haven't heard. And you are saying, I don't know. You want to force me into believing.
You haven't heard that your party is changing the rules?
Not at all, I haven't.
I see. But what's your take on the outcome of the election itself? Now we have 4, at least Adainimo will be making it through if Boache Jacob doesn't sail through. You have the ultimate decision to make on November 4.
Okay, thank you very much. My regards to our viewers. But before then, please give me the opportunity to rebut some of the things my honorable brother said, because it's very important. Then you create a fair platform for us to speak. Unfortunately, I heard him saying that Nana Addo will go down, that he's a West president. It's very interesting. I thought he should have been asked and give us figures. And then the prevailing conditions of today, what we've gone through as a country, and what they went through. Because in any case, you can't compare Okada policy to free school. In any case, if it's not propaganda, any honest, God-fearing person in Ghana who is want to be very honest and wants to do proper comparison between the NDC and NPP at all times in terms of aggregate performance, but for propaganda, communist inferior tactics, ignorance, unconscious incompetence, display of ego trips, will not compare NDC to NPP. And NDC, for Christ's sake, is a social democrat. Tell me one pro-poor policy of national tenacity they've been able to implement successfully and sustainably in our country. Tell me one. Pro-poor. They are supposed to adopt contractionary fiscal policies, take more taxes, and roll out central government programs just to make sure that poor people also benefit out of redistribution. Tell me one. It's just about this country that people think the only sin we can commit murder and fornication. And because of that, they can come and lie. How can you compare the two? It's interesting. Look, in terms of infrastructure, you are from a very reputable media house. Take NDC, NPP rep. Go to urban roads, go to highways, and then all those agencies, and go around the whole world. Sorry, the whole country. Pick proper, correct data that really have dignity, and compare NDC NPP. It's impossible. It's just about lies. Talking about even things that help the poor person. Even now, how are we growing? We are growing even now beyond the 3.2 that we actually inherited from the NDC. Even now, with all these global hardship that, unless those who are very dishonest, because we are import-driven economy. We depend on the developed economies. We buy from the, look at what I'm wearing, what he's wearing, the watch, everything. So the countries we are importing from, they are going through a hell of economic issues. Inflationary rate post-COVID was about 300% globally. Go and check. Countries such as UK and co that we import from, we depend on. They had inflation rate from about 1.71, it went to 11%. Almost all the essential services in UK, within 3 months, they've been on strike. We depend on them. So when in the history of this country that, government workers, civil servants and public servants were asked to stay home, but they will be paid. And you're comparing NDC and NPP, that they had better regime, and they left economy of about 3 point something. For NDC, you can say whatever about NPP. I don't have any problem, because there is hardship, which we know largely because of global hardship, because we depend on them. If you buy things from Central Region, come and sell in Accra, and they have problems with their prices, they have problems with the economy, they will affect here, except those who want to do propaganda because they think there's no God. Aside that, NDC, tell me, even teachers and nurses allowance, they that care about the poor, they withdrew that. Everything about NDC is propaganda. And because NPP, in my opinion, we have lapses in our communication framework. That is me, strategically. They take advantage, they lie to Ghanaians, and when they come to power, they can't do anything. So talking about Nana Addo being the West or whatever, at least, not anything at all. Free school is better than Okada policy. That one, let's establish. Then let's go back to my elections, if you don't mind. Unless you want to take me away. I think largely, we conducted a very peaceful elections, and anybody will attest to that. You can't just pick one issue and say that, which of course is not even confirmed, and say that the election largely. So let's applaud the NPP for being able to demonstrate on the continent of Africa that we think democracy is a big issue. What actually happened, things that are of critical importance or public interest and importance, we realized that we were able to do that peacefully. And I congratulate His Excellency Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia for winning that election, and also congratulate others that also took part peacefully. It was something to demonstrate to Ghanaians and the rest of Africa that democracy is largely entrenched in the NPP's fraternity. And I also hope that 4th November, we'll do say we have very peaceful elections, and after that we'll all come back and build the needed cohesion as a team and make sure that we defeat the NDC again. Because as I'm talking to you now, there hasn't been one constructive alternative policy from the NDC, apart from propaganda. One constructive. They don't even have. Surprisingly, NDC all the 8 years could not even set up one research team to research into problems that are ritually confronting our country. They are only interested in coming to power, but how to rule and lead, they are not. So I don't think Ghanaians bet, our best bet could be the NDC.
Okay.
And I'm saying and telling my NPP colleagues that please, let us build the needed cohesion, the needed unity, the needed togetherness, collectiveness, so that we can derive the needed synergies and have the competitive edge we need to beat the NDC. Okay. Other than that, we'll hand over power to a fraternity that will jeopardize perpetually the future of posterity and the next generation.
Right. Okay.
I think this is what we need to look at.
So now let's get to